So remember how I said I couldn't wait? It's Romania Black, and yeah, I couldn't wait. I don't know why you are surprised at that statement, if you are. But we're on episode 5 of Thousand Autumns, and yeah, I should be recording other things. And this morning, I was like, I just don't feel like recording those other shows. I want to watch Thousand Autumns. I finally got a chance to check out the comments from episodes 2 and 3 on Patreon and YouTube, which was really exciting. And I was like, I just want to dive into this episode. So yeah, last episode, Bairong got with Huo Shijing, and they got into a scuffle. They're in a kerfuffle over Shen Qiao. Everybody wants Shen Qiao. Why are we surprised? He's basically an angel. And Yan Wushi has been like, look, I'm going to help you get cured of this deadly reunion, whatever that amounts to. Can't imagine who got him involved in that. UI. And possibly, could be somebody else. But he's decided he's going to take it upon himself to help out his man, get his groove back, and possibly have him fall in love with Yan Wushi along the way. Who are we to stop it? But I really like it. And Qingong has teamed up with Mutai, or is Mutai? Yes, I'm looking over at Whiteboard Kun because I haven't erased him yet. Mutai, he's teamed up with him whether Mutai likes it or not. So things are in motion, but we left off the episode with Yan Wushi carrying bridal style our boy Shen Qiao Wei, and I was like, you can't just end the episode that way. So I have to watch ahead. I have to see what happens next, right? The only comment I want to point out is from Sunray535 for episode 2, saying that Liu He Gang is a guild, it's an organization. I don't recall them being associated with any religion, so that's good to note. However, they said that the Tiantai sect is Buddhism and is a real branch of Buddhist thought with 3 truths. 1, all things or dharmas lack ontological reality. 2, they nevertheless have temporary existence. And 3, they are simultaneously unreal and temporary existing, being the middle or absolute truth, which includes and yet surpasses the others, directly from Britannica. So yeah, so the Tiantai sect, which is interesting that the Liu Gang is associated with that sect, but not directly involved in it. It's good to know those little clarifications, and I'm sure we will dive into that more through the novel and hopefully the rest of the series, but I'm so excited. Before we get started, a special shout out to Reiki for providing the episodes. Thank you very much. That is super appreciated. But I also want to give a shout out to our philanthropy tier over on Patreon. I know if you can't afford Patreon, I understand if you're watching on YouTube. Please, if you cannot get on Patreon and show some support there, then feel free to give a like to this video, subscribe to this channel so that you see Thousand Autumns every Monday, obviously. But those on Patreon, y'all are amazing. I am so humbled and appreciative of everything you donate to the channel to help me be able to do what I love to do and to be able to pay taxes. So thank you. With that being said, I want to give a shout out to Alex Cornejo, Be Happy, Dana, Damage3245, Devorin, Destiny Marie, Ichu, Ghostly Turnip, Eric, Faisho, Elfreya, Linden, Murphy, Willie Morris, Translucent Men, Sunspots, Shimoyama, Daniel, James, Diana Williams, Nicholas, and Sean. Thank you all so very much for all of your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. So yeah, that's what I got. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get into this. I'm super excited. I don't know what this episode is going to bring, but I'm so ready. We are starting the OP at 2. We are starting the episode, skipping the OP, so it'll be 2 minutes and 25 seconds. That's such a long OP. Such a long OP. But whatever. So we are going to get started with Thousand Autumns, episode 5, and we are going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's get going. For the record, these episodes are too short. Too short! No, you cannot! Cliffhanger! Just cliffhanger. The problem is, I'm gonna even be gone this next weekend, and I'm probably not gonna get to episode 6 until next week, and this is gonna be the longest week to wait. Let me tell you, the longest week to wait. Oh my gosh. So, anyway, so this episode was really good. I really good. We got some more information that we're gonna write up here. Some more information of things going down, as well as Shen Qiao. I'm a little proud of Shen Qiao at the end of this episode, revealing that he's known a little bit more than he's been letting on, and there are reasons why he wants to confront UI face to face and by himself. So we need to get into this. I'm getting a lot of parallels in this. I know everybody calls I know that Xingqian from Modao Zushi, a lot of people compare Shen Qiao to him, mainly because he's blind. That's the surface level connection. But I see a lot of Shi Lian in Shen Qiao from Heaven Official's Blessing. I see a lot of Shi Lian. A little bit of Qingqian, but a lot of Shi Lian. And I see a lot of Hua Chang in Yan Wushi in this episode. And they bring up a conversation that happens in Heaven Official's Blessing. They bring up a conversation, and I was like, oh, yep, we've had that. That's good to note. But what I like about Thousand Autumns is that Shen Qiao is not exactly like Shi Lian. Yan Wushi is not exactly like Hua Chang. They are different in very distinct ways. And if you've not seen Heaven Official's Blessing, I won't comment directly down below. But if you have seen Heaven's Official Blessing, I've watched all of Heaven's Official's Blessing. So if you want to comment down below about, based on what we've seen so far. Now, obviously, I don't want spoilers getting into episodes yet to come. But from what we've seen in this episode, we can talk about it down below about that. But let's just set the stage of what's going on currently. Off in the corner, we have Muti. Muti is now stuck with Qin Gong. He's inherited that, so have fun with that. And they are after Shen Qiao because he wrecked shit and the guy's not happy about it. So there's that. Meanwhile, we get a flashback. We get a flashback here of Shen Qiao back when he was fighting Kunye. Also, good to know that Kunye and that one guy, they didn't exactly look the same, and the character designs didn't exactly look the same, but it was good to see in this episode that they are in fact different people. That one guy is somebody different. I'm sure in the comments people have been trying to tell me that, but it is good to know that they are different people. Also, Kunye telling him what exactly has been going on. We go back to that fight with him against Shen Qiao. Shen Qiao in his old robes, it felt so weird. We're only 5 episodes in, and it feels like that was a lifetime ago. But when he fights him, so we go back to that moment where they connected. That's when we cut off in episode 1. And the next time we saw Shen Qiao was when he was down in the ravine and Yan Wushi found him. So here we go back, and we get a little bit of extra input there. And he's like, you're poisoned by deadly reunion, the most fatal one in the world. So we need to talk about that. So at first I was like, did Kunye poison him? And he's, having his villain monologue. But no, Shen Qiao believes that UI poisoned him. So that's a thing. So Shen Qiao, we find out, believes, we come to find out at the end of this episode that UI poisoned him with the deadly reunion, which I'm just saying the fact that it's called Deadly Reunion and we ended this episode with them having a deadly reunion, womp womp, it just all coming together, right? But the thing that's kind of the sketchy part about it is that Kunye knew about it. Kunye knew about the poisoning and he just couldn't resist gloating it in front of Shen Qiao, which was a mistake. You ought not have done that because Shen Qiao's not dumb, and now you've revealed this information to our little bean blossom, and he's going to go back and confront UI with it. Now, what ends up happening from that? I can't believe I have to wait a week. That's annoying. You all have to wait a week too, so I'm sorry. We're all in this boat together. But yeah, he's like, you've been poisoned by the most fatal in the world, and Shen Qiao's like, really? Even God can't save you. Well, Yan Wushi's not a god, so... I just want Yan Wushi to have his Eowyn moment from Lord of the Rings. He's like, I am no god, and just does it. Yan Wushi's love is gonna prevail. Just you wait. So yeah. And so Shen Qiao's like, okay, him coughing up blood, nobody needs to see that. Him being able to still fight despite being poisoned is crazy. But then yeah, our poor Bean, he says, tell me where the ring is. And Shen Qiao's like, I have no clue what you're talking about. So, okay, the ring seems pretty important in all of this, but I think it's imperative that we note, maybe it's a red herring, maybe it's just coincidence, maybe it has nothing to do with this, but Kunye is looking for this heirloom, which I'm assuming is like the halliedom of Beimu. It's the ring. They talked about it in episode 1. He's looking for this ring that is capable of controlling other people. Now, it's this holy object. Is this the one? Does Yan Wushi have it? I don't want the answer to this question because we'll obviously find out. But I'm like, is this the ring that they keep, zeroing in on in all of the shots, being like, oh, look, Yan Wushi's wearing this random ring. Can't imagine what that's for. I don't know. And the thing that makes it where you may be saying, well, if he's wearing the ring, why doesn't Shen Qiao say anything? Well, Shen Qiao can't see the ring, so he wouldn't know to ask. Because if you've noticed, Shen Qiao has been avoiding physical contact with Yan Wushi, even though Yan Wushi is like practically rubbing him down with his hands every 5 seconds. Shen Qiao has been avoiding it. So if Shen Qiao gave in and like did an interrogation of Yan Wushi, he'd probably notice the ring and be like, is this what Kunye is looking for? But that's not what's happening. So, and in the novel, they may not even bring up the ring. So maybe until we know it. So the Donghua could be giving us hints and spoiling us. I don't know. We'll find out when we get to it. But it just seems interesting that we keep going back to those shots. And then poor Shen Qiao, that's when he falls off the ravine. That's when he ends up being found by Yan Wushi. And then we go back to this moment. I like that Yan Wushi doesn't even wait. He doesn't even wait for Shen Qiao to get acclimated before going into his villainous monologue. He's just like, well, this is your fate. Hey, you awake? Okay, time to talk. It's like Yan Wushi is slightly impatient. I like it. I like Yan Wushi because he's this interesting mixture of a man that's incredibly patient. He's being incredibly patient with Shen Qiao, for the record. But also, as soon as he gets the moment to talk, he's like, okay, time's on, not being patient, let's go. So he's very efficient with his time, right? My dog is asking me to play with him. He's very efficient with his time. So as soon as Shen Qiao wakes up, he's like, this is your fate. You're always deceived and you're always betrayed. Don't you feel bitterness at heart? What's so amazing about this scene is that Shen Qiao like looks over towards the voice that's talking to him. Yan Wushi is like just straddling the window, looking seductive with the petals falling. And I'm like, Shen Qiao can't see him. He can't see him. So it's almost like he's doing this knowing that Shen Qiao can't like reciprocate. It's just ridiculous. But in any case, I don't know if maybe Yan Wushi heard Shen Qiao like murmuring in his sleep or saying something in his sleep, and he's just talking as soon as he woke up, being like, look, I maybe Yan Wushi doesn't like hearing Shen Qiao having night terrors, and he's like just letting him know how it is. But we're gonna put Yan Wushi up here. Yan Wushi is trying to convince Shen Qiao that everyone, it's like the freaking room, everyone is betraying him. And he wants Shen Qiao to join his sect so he can be protected. Now, is Yan Wushi just coming out and saying that? No, but do we, the audience, know that that's what he wants? Well, it's probably something of it. I mean, it's probably part of it. I mean, I think that he has fallen in love with Shen Qiao and he's trying to like, skirt around that ever so coolly, but we, the audience, know that that's not a thing. So yeah, the truth you're seeking might be unbearable for you. And there is a part to this that I respect Yan Wushi, because Yan Wushi knows. He's been doing intel. He knows probably that Shen Qiao and UI grew up together. And what would be the ultimate betrayal than knowing that your best friend growing up betrayed you? And so he's trying to cushion the blow and trying to give him an out, being like, hey, if you don't want to have to go through this and find this out, you could always just come join my sect. You don't have to find out about Mount Xuandu. You don't have to find out what they're doing because they clearly don't care about you. They gave up on you like within a day. So let's just move on. And you don't have to. He's trying to spare Shen Qiao from the pain of realizing the people he cares about have betrayed him. And he's trying to get him conditioned to knowing these things so that it doesn't hurt his heart as much as Yan Wushi thinks it will. But you could also look at it in the sense of Yan Wushi has probably been betrayed himself, and he's projecting a little bit onto Shen Qiao, thinking he's suffering the same thing. So the thing about Shen Qiao is Shen Qiao wants to see it through. He wants to find out for himself. And you can't blame Shen Qiao for wanting that. He's like, I have to go back. It's my home. Everything's correlated, so I need to go back. And then they get a close-up on that damn ring. Once I connect the dots and combine with the memory that I'm missing, I can figure out what really happened that day. The thing is, I think Shen Qiao knows more than he's letting on. He just doesn't want to get Yan Wushi involved because, of course, Shen Qiao doesn't want to get him involved. He's a freaking saint. But he's letting on. He knows more than he's letting on. He's just trying to, like, say, thank you, Yan Wushi, for protecting me, but I'll figure it out. But there's still a piece missing. Anyway, he's like, I have to go back to Mount Xuandu. And Yan Wushi's like, you know, you're acting all righteous, but Shen Qiao is a pretty righteous guy, but he's like, I need to know for myself, and I can't blame Shen Qiao for wanting to know that. I just love the back and forth between the two of them. Clearly, the two of them care for each other right now on a surface level of, I don't want you to get hurt. And Shen Qiao's like, hey, no, I got it. I'm fine. Don't follow me. We're good. And Yan Wushi's like, hey, I'm trying to warn you about what you're about to encounter because I don't want your heart getting broken. And it's like, both of them are just, you know, they're trying to protect each other without getting too involved, but they really are so involved at this point that they're fooling themselves. So yeah. So Shen Qiao's like, I'll just head off. And Yan Wushi's like, okay, here we go. Again, one thing I really appreciate is that Yan Wushi, he keeps a distance. Just enough. He's not clingy. He's not like, you know, trying to be flirty to the point where he's like touching him every 5 seconds, but he is protecting him and he is watching over him. And he does give Shen Qiao a little bit of space, which I appreciate. Like, he fends off this guy and his men, and he's like, no. I like that he just grabs his shoulder like, nah, bitch. let my disciple handle this. You guys aren't doing anything. And I love that our boy Yu is just like, hey guys, gonna go here and kick ass. I love that for the disciple of Yan Wushi, he's just literally like Xingyan is just proving himself. And Yan Wushi's like, I'm here for the free help. And Shen Qiao's like, what ended up going on? Meanwhile, at the Lue gang, Kunye is there. So Kunye, we need to make note, is hiding out at the Liu gang location, which is interesting. So he's currently with the Liu gang, which, if we recall, is where where Fuyi is at, is where Fuyi's been. So she had actually sworn to help Shen Qiao, so that might come into play down the line, because she was like, oh, I'll help you guys if you ever need help. Well, the dude that is camping out at your gang's location is kind of having the exact opposite of motives. So they bring up Yan Wushi when he's like, Yan Wushi is constantly going against us. And Kunye's like, why? He's like, Hanyu sect has disrupted our recent operations. He's like, I didn't expect he would protect Shen Qiao himself. He definitely wants to benefit from this. Well, yes. Here's the thing. I feel like the benefit is that he's fallen in love with Shen Qiao, and the benefit is that he wants Shen Qiao to love him back. Is what I feel. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. I feel like everybody's like, well, Yan Wushi, what could he possibly want from Shen Qiao? And I'm like, well, do I need to say it? So he's like, he's like, Yan Wushi is so cunning, but after all this, he finally shows his intentions. He's using Shen Qiao to investigate us, which is true. He is doing that. Yeah, he is indeed. He's like, Shen Qiao is like a walking treasure. Take your disciples with you. Don't let the others get to Shen Qiao. Mount Xuandu should act as well. We'll act on both ends this time. Are you going to be strong enough to escape our besiege? Well, your bird ain't strong enough to escape a Yan Wushi's disciple grabbing you out of midair. So, so basically, he all but says that they're basically going to try to use Shen Qiao, I think, to lure Yan Wushi out to possibly get rid of him because he's in the way. So right now we're going to keep Shen Qiao alive. He's poisoned, so Kunye's not too worried about him. He's like, well, he's poisoned. He can't do much. So they're keeping him alive to possibly lure out Yan Wushi and maybe take him out of the equation. And then knowing that Shen Qiao, since he's this walking treasure. Also, that's interesting to note because I feel like another aspect of Yan Wushi getting Shen Qiao to read the celerity and become this walking celerity is that now they can't just, it might be an incentive for others to pitch in and possibly cure Shen Qiao of the deadly reunion, because now Yan Wushi's like, oh wow, I'm kind of destroying the celerity, so the only way for you all to get that information is to keep this man alive. Oh, you poisoned him? You might want to undo that so that he doesn't die and you lose all that knowledge that you've been searching for this whole time. You might want to get on that. So honestly, it could be that Yan Wushi, another motive is to get Shen Qiao's poison cured. He's making him a walking celerity so that others that would normally be trying to kill him will keep him alive. Who knows? Who knows? Interesting. But yeah, I like this little exchange with the bird where he's like, you know, I love that they have where he almost makes him lose the bird again while he's playing. He's like, deliver the message to your owner. So the message is to keep him alive. So Yan Wushi's just been, you know, keeping up to date with what the other side is doing. He's like, are they using Shen Qiao as bait? He's like, the people of Beimu and those who covet the celerity are going to try to be killing each other. He's like, well, maybe you'll be the final winner. And I like that Yan Wushi's just kind of like, that's not really my style. Yan Wushi definitely seems like the type of guy that he's like, I'm not the type to sit on the sidelines and let the other sides kill each other. He's like, I kind of like being in the middle of all the drama. So, interesting. And he's like, why don't you show yourself since you're already here? I love that he says that when Shen Qiao is just walking out in the open. How was he hiding himself? He wasn't. And he's like, well, thank you for sending your disciples to protect me. I won't forget your kindness. I like he keeps saying disciples. I don't know if that's a translation issue since there's literally one. I want Shen Qiao to get his eyesight back, and then he looks over and just sees Xingyang, and he's like, oh, it's just you? And he's like, it's always been. It's like the astronaut meme where he's got the gun to his head. He's like, it's always been just me. I'm like, oh my God. He's like, I won't forget your kindness, but don't send anyone else to follow me. And I like that Yan Wushi's like, haha, no. He's like, listen to yourself. That wasn't protection. I was using you. Since you've already discovered it, I'll reluctantly protect you myself. I kind of love this because, one, Yan Wushi is not keeping secrets from Shen Qiao. He's like, I was using you to get surveillance, so just so you know. He's being honest with him and saying when he's using him, which is good. And then he's like, but since you figured out my clever ruse, I guess I'll just have to protect you myself. I'm like, oh, you weren't going to offer that anyway? He's like, I'll just go with you myself. And of course, Shen Qiao's a damn saint. And he's like, oh, don't waste time and effort on me. I'm not worth it. And Yan Wushi's like, I'll decide if you're worth it or not. I love it. He's like, it took me so much work to turn you into the celerity. I made the whole world fight for you. How can I miss out on such an interesting thing? And he like tries to attack Shen Qiao, but every time he goes after Shen Qiao to try to like get at him, I'm like, this is just some foreplay. Although this is the most assertive Shen Qiao has been, or this is the most assertive that Yan Wushi has been towards Shen Qiao. He's like, you have two options. You can come with me willingly since your injuries haven't recovered, or we'll fight again. And I'll take you with me after I beat you so hard that you can't stand. I do like that. I mean, I'm not for threatening anybody, but Yan Wushi's like, look, I've offered to protect you. I'm offering to come with you. You can keep turning me down and pissing me off, or you can accept my help and be grateful I'm helping you, or I'm going to drag you over my shoulder and carry you bridal style back to Mount Xuandu myself. Which do you want? And I like these, like, I've been nice. I've had 4 episodes of me being nice, and now you've pushed me into being a little bit more assertive. And Shen Qiao doesn't seem mad at him. He's just like, he's like, I don't want you to have to do this. But Yan Wushi wants to do this. He was giving me a little bit of Jareth vibes from Labyrinth, like the Goblin King, but maybe, you know, secretly nicer than the Goblin King. So, we've reached the kingdom of Xuandu. We just haven't reached the mountain yet. I love that it feels very tranquil. It's giving Lotus Pier vibes from Modao Zushi. It's just so green. Everything is lush. But as they get across this bridge, they start to run into a lot of homeless people and people that are struggling and they're beggars. Like the translation calls them tramps. And Shen Qiao's like, it wasn't like this when I left. And I don't know, based on what Yan Wushi says, I don't know if it was a situation of Shen Qiao just didn't notice because he was preoccupied with other things. He didn't realize how bad the homeless population had gotten, or if it's gotten worse since he left, right? We don't know that for sure. He's like, this is a common scene. It's during war. Everybody's struggling. And maybe Yan Wushi's trying to be like, hey, did you not notice how bad things had gotten? Again, this scene right here on the bridge felt very Heaven Official's Blessing. It really did. So Shen Qiao makes the mistake of, it felt like, I thought it was going to be like South Park where all the beggars got up and slowly like zombies started going towards Shen Qiao. That didn't end up happening. But he offers the pancake to the son to give to the sister. The dad takes it because he's a POS. And then asks him for more, and Shen Qiao's like, I just had one in my pocket. Clearly I don't have enough for everybody. And Shen Qiao's response is just like, go get a job. That's basically his response. What I love best is that Yan Wushi doesn't say anything. Yan Wushi does not say a word. He is just observing. He is just paying attention. He is just seeing how Shen Qiao reacts to the situation. He is just there as a silent bodyguard at this point. But Shen Qiao's like, look, I gave you food. I clearly don't have enough to feed everybody, so just take it and go. And then he kind of like, he chides the dad, and he's like, you're a man. You got all your limbs. Go work to feed your family. If Qin Gong can do it, you can do it. Right? But then the dad threatens to kill the son, which the son not being mad at the dad after all this was said and done, I was like, are you a saint too? What? But yeah, and then I like that Shen Qiao like knocks him out with the bamboo and is like, you're an ass, quit that. So then Yan Wushi gives him a little bit of chiding. He's like, if you give people a cup full of rice, they'll be resentful. Have you ever heard of it? And he's like, well, it was my fault. There are too many people suffering, and I myself can't possibly save them all. That is a very big distinction from Heaven Official's Blessing. I'm just going to say that. If you know down below, we can talk about it. But the fact that Shen Qiao is aware that he can't save everybody. He's like, I can only do so much. I knew I only had so much. I probably shouldn't have gave it to him. But he's like, when I see people suffer, I can't help but try to help them in some way. That's a pretty big distinction from Shilian. A little bit. I was like, okay. And Yan Wushi just being like, Yan Wushi's just soaking it all in. Like, okay, all right. He's like, you are indeed a benevolent man, but the desires of men can never be satisfied. They can never appreciate your kindness. If you're unable to protect yourself today, they might have devoured you alive. And then Shen Qiao's like, well, humans naturally try to protect their own safety. He's like, I'm not a saint. If I couldn't protect myself, I would have ignored them in the first place. That's a big distinction too, where I like this idea that Yan Wushi, he like talks to him and he tells Shen Qiao, he's like, people are never satisfied. People are never satisfied. And he's like, they're always going to take advantage of you. And, you may say to yourself, hearing Yan Wushi say that, you're like, well, you're wanting Shen Qiao to join your sect, but aren't you just saying that, you're going to betray him just like everybody else? No, I feel like Yan Wushi is telling Shen Qiao, he's like, hey, are you on the up and up? Are you really that naive? He's like, I don't want to hurt you and I want to protect you, but you have to be able to protect yourself. And Shen Qiao kind of responds in this conversation like, yeah, I know. I love that Shen Qiao says in response, he's like, I am aware of my limits. I love that he says there, he's like, if I was in too deep, I wouldn't swim. which is such a departure from some other, like, you know, kind of saintly Donmai characters where they would be like, I'm going to do my best to help everybody and do all this and I'll save everyone. Shen Qiao's like, no, I can't save everybody, but I am a nice guy, so it's hard for me to resist trying to help in any way I can. But if I couldn't help, I wouldn't. And it's like, oh, okay. And I feel like that kind of shuts up Yan Wushi. He's like, okay, just taking it like it is. All right. He's like, I just felt uneasy seeing people suffer. He's just a nice guy, and Yan Wushi knows that. But I think a big part, I feel like this scene here where the kid comes over to say thank you to Shen Qiao, we get a name, so we're probably going to see this kid again. I feel like it's either going to be for one of two ways. So Shiwu is one of the characters that we run into. Shiwu is the tramp that Shen Qiao saved. And he's the kid. I feel either this encounter is going to go one of two ways. It's either going to go a positive way or an angsty way, where he thanks Shen Qiao for saving him. He's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, don't mind him. The fact this kid said, don't mind my dad, who held me at knife point a second earlier. And then Shen Qiao's like, it's okay. Go back. Take good care of your mother and your sister, but not your dad. And he's like, don't worry. He's like, I gave the pancake to my sister. And he's like, sir, please tell me your name. And Shen Qiao's like, well, it's Shen Qiao. He's like, you're the savior of my family. And he gives him a little like pat and sends him off. And he's like, don't you have anything to say? And Yan Wushi's like, well, some people just like to do foolish things. If they can't take in suggestions, why do I bother lecturing them? And Shen Qiao's like, you know, there is evil in this world, but there will always be good and kindness. Exchanging the pancakes for kindness is a really good deal. So Shen Qiao, I love that he confronts Yan Wushi and he's like, you going to say anything? And Yan Wushi's like, you aren't going to listen to me anyway, so why bother? And Shen Qiao says that the message of this scene is that I am willing to exchange a little hardship for encouraging kindness. Which is the lesson here. He's like, even if it makes me suffer a little bit, it's furthering that kindness and it's worth it. I think this scene is going to go one or two ways in the future, just based on the Donmai formula that we've seen, especially in MXTX works, because this moment here reminds me of an MXTX formula, where it's either going to go one or two ways. Either that kindness is going to get repaid down the road further, where Shiwu will show back up and help Shen Qiao when he's needed, and whatever will happen. Maybe Shiwu will get killed, but it'll be the sacrifice to save Shen Qiao, or maybe it will benefit Shen Qiao and everything will be sunshine and rainbows. But I wonder if this act that just happened is going to be an example of making Shen Qiao suffer down the road. If something's going to happen to Shiwu based on what Shen Qiao did, and it's going to be like something that tries to drag Shen Qiao down or provides angst, and maybe Yan Wushi will have to remind him of that conversation. He's like, well, wasn't it still worth it to exchange it for kindness? And I feel like this conversation is going to reoccur later in the story. It's going to come back. I feel like this is one of those moments that's going to come back. We just don't know exactly how yet. But yeah, and then of course the sunlight shines on him and it's very sweet. And Shen Qiao's like, it's okay. It'll all be fine, right? So they get to Mount Xuandu. And the bird gets there to inform that you have to keep Shen Qiao alive. I wonder if that was UI that got the note. We'll see. So they stop at this inn to get this dinner, and we get a little bit of exposition where Shen Qiao's like, I said bamboo tea. And this guy's like, oh, sir, we don't have spring bamboo tea. He's like, sorry, Mount Xuandu is shut off. We can't get to the bamboo. I could use your staff if you want to brew it. And he's like, what? Why is it shut off? Why has it been sealed? Mount Xuandu is never sealed. And so then he says, well, Yan Wushi replies. He's like, 10 days from now, Xuandu Pink Manor will hold the Yutai Tao meet. So let's get into that, shall we? So the Yutai Tao meet, I don't think we've mentioned Yutai. I don't think it's been mentioned as of yet. No, not really. So we'll go back with that. All right. Haven't got to the Utah Tao meet yet, but we need to get, where's my other marker here? Yan Wushi gives us some exposition, so we need to get into that. So 10 days from now, 10 days from the inn scene, is going to be Xuandu's Pink Manor, which is where Shen Qiao is from, is going to host a Utah Tao meet. And so at that meeting, he's like, to decide the best Tao priest. I love when he like rolls the rock on his fingers. Also, getting back to that ring, it said all the sects will send disciples here. So they're looking for a Tao priest to be determined. And all sects will be present with disciples. A big gathering, if you will. A big heroes conference, if you will. And he's like, the Chungyang Temple and Tianti sect will be members as well. So we'll also have the people that we've encountered with before. They'll be showing up. You know, no big deal. No big deal or anything. Just a big gathering of people. And Shen Qiao's like, I don't remember us ever having such an activity or doing anything. And they're like, oh, it's a new event because our Xuandu town gets quite lively. And so then Yan Wushi's like, well, of course, this is the innovation of UI when he became chief. He must have been scratching his head for this. And I don't know who's the master behind it. So Yan Wushi doesn't think that Yu Tai thought up this whole thing by himself. He thinks that there were other people in the other cooks in the kitchen, probably Kunye, probably, but this was UI's innovation. But it could possibly be with Kunye in mind. I think it is 100% with Kunye in mind. And yeah, he's like, I don't know who's the mastermind behind it. That's what I'm trying to find out. And so Shen Qiao's like, why would UI do this? And he's like, well, when you were chief, you tried so hard to stay low. You can't expect others to be the same. I like that Yan Wushi says, you know, you kept a low profile despite being in the top 10 of all the martial arts fighters. He's like, not everybody is as humble as you are. UI went through all these troubles to investigate prestigious people all over the world for this event because he wants to become famous and to compete with other sects. So I like, okay, also noticing, I just realized the guys sitting down are some of the guys that are going to attack him. I just now noticed that. That's crazy. So we have the idea that UI wants fame and glory, and he is not living by Chu Feng's principles. Because, you know, as we know, Shen Qiao was his main disciple and talked about inaction, which we established that one of the celerity books might have been Inaction or Tranquility, which I think is what Shen Qiao is bringing up here. We practice Tao's non-action. Yep, UI is going against it. And Yan Wushi's like, well, is that what Qifeng taught you? He's like, no wonder hardly anybody recognizes you. Yeah, he's like, well, you practice all this inaction and staying down low. Of course nobody would notice you. But not everybody wants to be as humble as you are. I love the way they animate Yan Wushi in this. So the Tao priest from Mount Xuandu. Yep. He's like, look at UI. He's so more high profile than you. Everyone in the world will know about him. So we get the porridge scene where he's giving out the porridge. And I think Shen Qiao makes a really good point. He's like, well, we were always doing that. We were always giving porridge out to people. He's like, why is it so extravagant and like put on and performative now? And Yan Wushi's like, because UI wants prestige and wants to be known. Unlike you, he's not working behind the scenes. He's making his actions known. Possibly to persuade people if it comes to getting his way. And Shen Qiao's like, well, that sounds kind of corrupt, you know? So I feel like he's kind of getting the hint. He's like, why are they doing things that we've always done? Everything's extravagant. Yeah. He's like, Yan Wushi, you seem to know Mount Xuandu well. I like that Yan Wushi is just like, oh, well, you know, my disciples can find information about whatever I want to know. That felt very Huachong. But I'm like, he's trying. I am curious why Yan Wushi knows so much particularly about this sect, unless he's just been gathering intel while he's been with Shen Qiao, or if he was gathering intel beforehand. That's kind of the mystery right now, is how long has Yan Wushi been involved with knowing about Mount Xuandu? Is this recently since he's met Shen Qiao, or was it from before? I'm a little curious on that one. You're the one who doesn't know Mount Xuandu very well. I do like that line. He's like, you have been living by Qifeng's principles so long that you maybe like lost sight of what was happening under your own nose and how the Mount Xuandu was handling things without your knowledge. I think it's bringing up some interesting points. But yeah, he's like, this porridge is to lament your past to lament for your past relationships. Your past relationships are like this porridge, as light as water. That's the way true friendship is supposed to be like. I'm fine with it. I don't know. I believe that there are good in this world. I believe in the brotherly affection between me and UI. And he's like, well, I hope this relationship, which is as light as water, can protect you from danger. I feel like that's an interesting discussion of it being light as water. Because, you know, usually when you think of a relationship, you want it to have a strong foundation and to have like a firm, solid ground and be like rock solid. Being as light as water means that, yeah, there's not any problems with it, but it's also fluid and it also isn't stable. And I feel like Yan Wushi is trying to be like, yeah, it's great to have a relationship that's very light and not bothersome. But if it's like water, it can slip through your fingers and escape you so quickly. So he's like, I don't know if I'd want a relationship that's like water or like porridge. I'd want it to be a little bit more sturdy than that. A little bit more hardy, maybe. And he's like, I don't know. Basically, Yan Wushi is saying, is this friendship with you and UI going to be stable enough to keep you from harm? But the trick is, at the end of this episode, I feel like Shen Qiao knows that UI might have betrayed him, but he's just trying to figure out why. Why is he betraying him? And that's when he notices all the other guys around here that are the fighters who just happen to know Mao Zhandu's techniques. So I feel like the fact that the guys that came to attack him knew Mount Zhandu's techniques, and the fact that he's realizing UI poisoned him, have made Shen Qiao want to get some answers. I do love Yan Wushi coming in to save him, and that his attack is kind of like a spider thread. It's purple and like a spider thread. I love the aesthetic around Yan Wushi. It's so good. It's so good. But yeah, and so they all fly the coop, and he says, well, it seems the way back to Mount Xuandu is very dangerous. He's like, you know, if you've changed your mind, you want to join my sect. I like that Yan Wushi at every given turn is like, hey, this is going to be dangerous. Maybe we should turn back now. Maybe if you just want to come join my sect, we can avoid all this. He's just trying to keep Shen Qiao from hurting himself and from becoming heartbroken. Mm-hmm. But Shen Qiao's like, I also like the angle now that Shen Qiao was wanting to confront UI to possibly get an antidote for the poison. Being like, hey, you poisoned me. Haha. Now give me the antidote, bitch. So we're going to see where that goes next episode. There are people waiting for me at Mount Xuandu. He's like, yeah, they're waiting for you, but is it what you intend? I like that Yan Wushi's like, yeah, the people are waiting for you, but they are probably going to attack you. Are you prepared mentally and physically for that? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I need to go talk to UI face to face today. At first, when Yan Wushi was like, oh, well, why don't we just wait for the conference and you call him out in front of everybody and make him stand accountable for what's happened, especially if he poisoned you, why not do it there? And at the time, Shen Qiao's like, no, I want to speak to him privately. And it seemed like he was just trying to save face for the sect. He's like, I don't want to cause waves and harm the sect's reputation. I'll just handle it privately. But now at the end of this episode, there's two reasons for it. One, he's trying to keep his sect from, saving face. But two, he also wants the antidote to the poison and wants to confirm all of this without calling UI out in the open. So it's like, our boy, I love Shen Qiao being more perceptive than he's let on. I love that. He's like, just show up on the meet. And he's like, no, I don't want our reputation to be harmed. And then he's like, if you walk on your own, you can't see UI on time. I love that he's just like, here, let me grab you by the waist and carry you off to Mount Xuandu. Yan Wushi just wanted an excuse to touch him. He just wanted an excuse. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So anyway, we get to this sword, which I don't know which sword this is that's on the ye old desk there. But, okay. So looking at the straps on UI's, sleeves there, do they match the bird getting to, where's the bird getting to there? I want to get back to that. I want to see if it matches. Okay, it does. Yeah, so UI got the note about keeping him alive. Okay, so it is UI that got the note from Kunye. Yeah, okay. All right. The shadows on UI in this scene where it just showed, I mean, the villainous lighting, y'all. The villainous lighting. But just the shadows on him made him look really good. I love that. Now I want to see what's going to happen next episode. Also, I really love just watching our boy Shen Qiao take his little bamboo stick and walk up towards the temple, and Yan Wushi is just walking behind him, hands behind his back, or walking in front of him. Like, just, he keeps his distance. He's not clingy. He's just maintaining a little safe distance before and after him, just to make sure it's going to be all right. I like that he was walking behind him, and then the moment they got to Mount Xuandu, he was in front of him. Like, just to make sure nothing came out and attacked him. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he makes it finally back to the mountain. And they're back. But he also is like, there's no guards here. Which is, I think is like, Shen Qiao should be suspect that there are no guards there. I'm like, that's weird. That's very weird. Why would there be no guards? And Yan Wushi's like, hey, your old friend's inside. I'm going to go hang outside here if you need me. He's like, if UI beats you, don't forget to scream for my help. He's like, but I'm not sure that I would help you or not. I'm like, you're such a bitch. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. You'll be there to catch him the moment he starts to tumble. Let's be real. And Shen Qiao's just like, what do I do? So yeah. I like as he walks up the stairs and he remembers the play. I love that even Shen Qiao not being able to see, he can still feel the texture. He has the power of touch. He can feel the texture. He can sense, like, he knows the smells. He knows the layout. He's been there his whole life. And when he gets to the top, he has that memory. So him and UI knew each other from an early age as kids. They've always been junior and senior. Yep. And he says, I'm the senior. UI, the seniority is decided by the date of entry. I'm the senior. So technically, I guess UI is a little older than Shen Qiao, but Shen Qiao was entered earlier, so he's technically the senior. That wouldn't breed discontent in any possible way, shape, or form. No, sir. But him going in, he's like, I'm here. I like that when the doors open, there's this big distinction between the two of them. And that shot of UI looking up with the shadows under his eyes looks creepy as all get out. So creepy. And he slowly puts the sword back on the table. I mean, UI gives a little bit of Shen Yan vibes, if y'all know what I'm talking about. Shen Qiao, OG Shen Qiao from Scum Villain. A little bit of vibes in the layout of his design. But yeah, and he reaches for him, but then pulls his hand down, which is interesting. Like, he was reaching for him, but then was like, oh, you can't see me. He's like, is everything all right? He's like, well, they were dispatched for... So he says that the guards were dispatched to prepare for the Yutai Tao meet. And he's like, don't worry about it. And he's like, I've sent people to look for you. Have you sent people to look for him? Have you really? He's like, well, I fell off the cliff after the fight with Kunye. I was in the ravine. I wasn't far. Wouldn't have been hard to find. He's like, let me read your pulse. So I feel like UI in checking the pulse is trying to figure out if he could beat Shen Qiao in a fight. And he's like, what's wrong with your pulse? And he's like, haven't you foreseen this when you poisoned me? Oh, bitch. Oh, bitch. Oh, and that look from Shen Qiao being like, you poisoned me, bitch. So didn't you know this was going to happen? Want to explain what's going on? Oh my gosh. I can't believe I have to wait a week, y'all. This is not fair. This is not fair. Not fair at all. Ah! This episode was too damn short. It was like 20 minutes. Too short. Too short indeed. I'm glad that Shen Qiao is confronting him. I'm glad that Shen Qiao is confronting UI about what's been going on. But I'm like, I want to know what's going to happen, and I have to wait a week before I can watch the next episode. That's not fair. That's not fair at all, y'all. Ugh. So, anyway, I'm very excited to hear your thoughts down below. I can't wait to hear what you thought about this episode. Shen Qiao grows on me every day. Yan Wushi grows on me every day. These two, I love them so much. And I cannot wait to see what's going to happen next episode. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. And yeah, I'll be back real soon with more of Thousand Autumns.